Anomalies. What else did I realize during the anomalies this past year? With like, I have the ability. I have an algorithm memorized, a quantum algorithm to detect like double coordinate activity in my coordinate R in the TS moment. If you can understand that. If you can't, that's okay. What I'm trying to tell you is I can detect something that's in the relative moment that's actually in a relative moment somewhere else at the same moment. Just like the video link that I picked up some data on, that there's two vehicles like overlapping each other and one is separating. Well, that's the alien technology counter configuration safety software section of the technology where you're not able to detect it. It has a buffer counter configuration in the software where excuse me, where that if you're looking at something that alien technology will not initialize due to the quantum technology. And see, that's the thing. If you're looking at it directly, nothing will initialize. You'll never realize it. If you're looking at it in a peripheral vision, in the corner of your eye, you might say, wait a minute, did I just see something? But not really, because, I didn't really you only got a partial frame of something. See, you didn't get nothing through the cornea, really. That's the problem. So what I have developed, I've not only developed an algorithm that I've memorized in my head, my mind, I've also figured out a way to use like conventional technology that we use every day to bypass the technology just a step further to decipher what's exactly going on. Because I've seen so many different configurations that I'll give you some examples. I've seen some configurations like a vehicle, a subcompact car that might drive by. Sounds like a big truck with big tires with a big diesel engine. It's like it doesn't fit in the normal configuration and normal threshold of reality type module. See, the little compact car will drive by, but the sound signature sounds like a big diesel truck with big tires. Or you might have a big pickup truck that sounds like a small little 12-inch tire subcompact car that will go by with no sound. Or I've even seen, and I have the footage of this, where a vehicle goes by, like a vehicle like a Turboron. And when it drives by, it has a sound configuration of someone pedaling a BMX bike. I'm not kidding. The sound configuration within the TS moment of R is misconfigured. I found those kind of errors quite often last summer. And I found that also in 2008. What else did I see as far as technology? I've also seen, headlamps and technology on vehicles that are not in production yet. Headlamps. Do you ever see like someone drive by in a foggy morning or evening, and you see the headlamps and you see the rays, like the rays go like at a taper, right? When the vehicle goes by and you have like those fog lights and it's kind of like you see the beam of light. Well, I've seen and deciphered technology. Well, within that beam of light, there's code or writing. I've seen that quite a few times. There's either some kind of signature code or writing within the beam. What else did I also see within vehicle technology? Flash programming, which is quite dangerous and you have to be careful. People may or may not realize or even know it exists. I don't even know if it happens to anyone else. I've noticed that there is technology that if it drives by at a certain speed or kilometer velocity, and you look at it, there's something with flash technology, with like something with the reflection or the reflectors on like brake lights and whatnot, and technology software that when you look at it, it programs some kind of digital flash that when you look at it, it sends you a message subliminally. And I've noticed that because I've received flashes and I've received like some kind of like information, like it's quite strange. And I've seen technologies like that. What else did I've seen as far as like alien technologies like that? But yeah, that's something that I've looked at. But I mean, it doesn't bother me because I have the realization and counter configuration methods that when I see that flash technology, I actually can observe it. I detect it, and I observe the little designs and whatnot, and try to figure out where is this deriving from. And I have in some cases figured out, a few things, but I haven't did a review of like footage and whatnot to actually see. That's the thing. If I review it from like a third layer, like let's say it was a copy of something that could be seen in real time, which is the actual. But when I review it, the flash of it all may not even be picked up in the frame rate. That's the problem here. I think I have to get a high frame rate camera again there or something to pick up these advanced technologies to actually prove the capabilities of what we may or not even be realizing yet. A lot of it's all quantum-based technologies. And in Canada, I mean, who do you have the discussion with something like this that actually no one in the world knows about this stuff? It's like the first world stuff. Well, geez, who do you contact? FBI? They're just gonna hang up. Who do you call it? Pentagon? They're gonna hang up. Who are you gonna call NASA? They're just gonna hang up. So I mean, for what reason? I don't know. It's time to have the discussion with someone. Because I know about a few other things and a few other things and a few other things besides that I don't feel like discussing, or unless it's with the right individual somewhere that has some kind of relativity in what the fuck I'm explaining. Because I've proven a lot back in 2008, 2006, especially with that anomaly, that whirlwind, that technology that, I studied that. I went right to the whirlwind, right at the source of the coordinate, and I studied that. I even walked through the whirlwind anomaly just to see what it would do. Nothing. Huh? I found out when the anomaly closed one evening at the shutdown rate, one evening, that it had multiple functions. And it had an alien undefinable failsafe that when it does close and the life evolution configuration ring prints out on shutdown, it has an auto failsafe that no one will remember if you're looking at it. See, that's the thing. Even if you look into it during shutdown at the world scroll, after it shuts down, you won't remember what you looked at. For some reason, remember. And it was not difficult to look at. It was just very overwhelming on shutdown. It's like I said, it's a world scroll. You can look into it on shutdown. whatever your interest is and what you see, you can see the absolute every which way, all the way around, right down to the absolute of what you're focusing on. And it could be traumatizing. Like on Shutdown, I've seen different eras of the past around the world, and gruesome eras and medieval eras, and I've also seen like the mystery of the pyramid. See what were those pyramids for, and that's why I have some of the answers to that, because I seen it in the World School and I could remember. However, it was traumatizing in different ways on Shutdown that I seen like very gruesome medieval eras, like in different parts of the world back in hundreds of years ago when it was shutting down before it printed the evolutionary reprint configuration ring. And when it did shut down, it was like, I mean, there was leaves flying everywhere, and there was lightning coming out of the whirlwind. It was quite something. And I mean, I was just like, holy Christ, but I mean, in the middle of the night, I mean, I live in a region where things are just strange with the population. So, I mean, this kind of stuff, you're on your own. And like on Shutdown, it shut down kind of like, it was like a doorway, and it shut down, and like it shut. And then there was a blue ring that came out, and you could see it just go in a radius, and then that goes around the world. And it changes TSR, like different things, a reconfiguration of time and life and reality and everything in between and whatnot. And that's deactive. I know of another alien technology where it no longer functions. I kind of have interest in it, but not really at the same moment because I already know its function. What it does, it can revert time, space, and reality to a certain moment in an era. Like there's a setting, let's say, to bring it back to somewhere like maybe into the 40s, an era into the 40s or a moment into the 40s. And I'm telling you, TSNR change, all of it, in a radius when it did function. And it's very like, it's difficult culpability to experience that unless you fully understand it. If you don't understand it or you have no realization of it or whatnot, it's going to ruin your mind for life. It'll be like some freak horrific thing because you just don't realize what's going on. But that exists. It no longer functions. I'm not certain if it's repairable. I would assume it is. I'm just not certain if those settings are more refinable. I know there's a general setting for like different era, and what it does, you can go from like 2022 to let's say somewhere in the 30s or the 40s or something like that, or just a different era of somewhere randomly somehow. And I'm just not certain if it can be refined to a certain like a week or a year or a moment. I'm not certain if it can be refined that way because I've seen the device and it's pretty much like not really, you know what I mean. It has a general setting and that's pretty much it, unless there's something that's not being realized with that alien device or the equipment. That's pretty much the baseline things. Like the general stuff, the easy peasy stuff to understand. I know more complex things that exist, however, something like that, yeah, to repair something like that, not really, but kinda, if I'd had the permissions, but Yeah, no, not really. But it'd be a pretty cool amusement park thing, wouldn't it be? Or something of like a region, like you want to see something fucking cool, watch this. You set that up and you're back in the 30s or something like that in a different world. And I've seen that function once or twice. And it wasn't pleasant because I didn't have all the understanding of it. But I do now, but it no longer functions. So that's pretty good. So even if someone tries to tamper with something like that, it no longer works. Because that can ruin a society or a town or something like that. Yep, so the thing that got me the most, maybe in 2008 and maybe last summer, was the flash technology that had the capabilities to maybe subliminally program an individual just by looking at something drive by. That's the only thing. And I have an idea to develop like some quantum eyewear to detect that with some extensive software applications to train ourselves naturally to unlock our minds. Over time, seamlessly, and with enough threshold barriers where it's not overly stressful on the human mind. So the mind, chemical thresholds are not put off balance in the transition with the quantum eyewear and the applications that are attached to the eyewear. And that's one of the things I wanted to develop because I'd figured out a way to unlock the mind in a double unratcheting mechanism to use or utilize maybe 30 or 40% of your mind's ability instead of 7. Not necessarily to bend spoons with your mind, but to realize things and decipher capabilities and different ways. Like the way I think, I have a method of thinking, like it's not the typical way that maybe individuals think. I have a gyroscopic method of thinking where everything is a threshold of a number. Almost like the little bubble compass. Well, you just move the little compass and the bubble stays on the top. Well, that's my method of thinking. Almost like an altimeter. I always decipher and think in a certain method where everything's a this way, that way, all the way around type of mentality thinking. Everything's a number threshold and buffers within those thresholds. And that's the way I think for some reason. And I have also noticed that the human mind, when you unlock it naturally, we only have the capability naturally during normal chemical levels of the mind, okay, to process so many elements of information at a certain moment, almost like a computer process. Like a certain Pentium computer can only process so many functions per second or millisecond. Well, the human mind is something else. And I've also noticed that when you eliminate certain things out of your vision or your vision or your environmental horizon, when you're looking at something, I've noticed that everything is constant when you have less information in your view or maybe in your environment. You actually have more information that you can realize because you're processing less information through your cornea to your mind at a particular moment. And through quantum eyewear and buffering sensitivity with a third part, but with an extension application through different algorithms can filter out different elements of reality in your vision to obtain more relative information and realizations within the TSR moment. And it's going to allow users of the quantum eyewear to realize that what they're looking at in front of them, they couldn't even see before, just because of the abundance of static blocking out the realization of what is actually in front of them, like an illusion. Let's say it's almost like the illusionist. Let's say he wants to make a balloon disappear. Well, there's always some kind of deterrent to just keep the attention somewhere else. The very fraction of a second, the balloon disappears. Like, see, voila. But it's not really voila. It's just you're fooled in a certain way that you didn't pick up on the frame rate. Someone got rid of the balloon right in front of you. It's not really a magic trick. It was just like some kind of mind deterrent. Well, it's the same thing with natural information within front of us in our reality or our horizon. You might look out in front of you at the distance and you see a normal field landscape. However, you hear the wind and the trees and the leaves rustle in the trees and you smell the flowers. However, if you put quantum eyewear and filter it out with some applications, eliminate some frequencies of the sound, some elements of maybe color or maybe textures of things. So you're reducing all the information, almost like a megapixel of a digital photo. More megapixels, more information, more 10, more 10, more information, nice, beautiful photo. If you take like a VGA photo, all greeny, yeah, you can see what it is, but you're not going to put that in some kind of photo album, you know what I mean? Same type of filtration, however, it's what you look at in real time. And the thing is, if you filter out different aspects of things, including, it would be a this way, that way, every which way factor application where it would not only eliminate certain frequencies, it might just be a certain tone of frequency or a level of frequency or maybe a texture or a color or something within the environment, within the algorithm application, that when those details are reduced in your environment or reality that you're looking at, you're going to see something else and realize something else in front of you. And that's some of the product that I want to develop in the next couple of years. It's not going to take very long. It's something that I worked on in 2008 when I was training to go on the top shelf, on the top of the territories. I'd realized something about algorithms, my gyrometric type way of thinking, which I learned from Germany. I kind of think like they do, but not really. But no. Kinda. It's just, for me, every time I make a decision or I think or a process about something and I analyze, everything's on a bubble scale. And with thresholds and buffers and numbers. And everything is a math equation until it fits in realization. It's just, when I can develop that quantum eyewear and the algorithm application extension, it's going to not only change the world, I'll be able to educate every child in this country without a teacher and without a classroom and without a sit-down session whatsoever, and have the smartest nation in the world within 1 decade. Guaranteed.